Chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays offside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of A Goals Eye View. We've got another great guest with us, Will Hancox.
Hello.
I'm also joined by Tom.
Good evening, guys.
And so Will, if you don't know him, introduce yourself a little bit. Obviously, you've got loads of connections to Torquay throughout your life in many different ways, including right now, obviously, Cutleaf Productions. But just a little bit of introduction into sort of your family and this sort of attachment, for those who don't know, to Torquay United.
So obviously my name's Will. First connection with Torquay was obviously my granddad way back in the 80s. Mike Bateson, who was obviously the chairman at Torquay, as everyone knows. Obviously that story is itself. He had many years there. My dad started playing for Torquay in the 90s as well. Eventually met my mum, who was working at Torquay because of my granddad. Obviously, she was working in Boots and Laces, I believe. Sorry if you're watching that, mum. Hope I got that right. And then I think they met from there. And then, mum and dad were involved with the club. Mum was involved with the club a lot until about 2007. Obviously, my early years growing up was very much that as well. I was always in and around the club. So, I mean, that's a very brief explanation of what we did.
But what was it like growing up? Obviously, because I grew up into a Torquay United supporting family, and it almost like you assume being a Torquay fan. But I'm sure Tom was the same. But what was it like actually growing up when someone's really deeply connected, or more than connected in your case, to the club like that?
I guess it's there's twos and throws. It's obviously when it's good, it's really good. It was weird when everyone sort of left as a kid, sort of 2007. It's a bit of a rough period with the club as well.
Of course.
Not saying we weren't supporters of the club, but the way it sort of ended.
Of course,
it was a bit sort of
Yeah, I can imagine.
a mess. So and then obviously I came back and played 2014. I signed as an under-16 player, and then obviously had my apprenticeship and pro from there as well. It was nice coming back, but also it was a bit weird. I don't know how to explain it. A little bit weird, but obviously I've always supported Torquay. I was born here. I've always followed every week, follow the results, see how they're getting on. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but I do. I can't say I was never home and away. I would never go home. It was more of just the background. Obviously, I play football myself.
Play a lot of football yourself, because so what was it actually like separate from that stuff? What was it actually like going through, trying to think of what the football club, what state of it when you were coming through as like an apprentice and all that? What was it like at the time, like the football club to come through that process?
So when I joined, it was 2014. Chris Hargreaves was manager.
Right, tough time. The beginning of a very tough time for the football club, wasn't it?
It was the year they got relegated to the conference. That was the year I came. Because I remember a couple of, I think they played Wycombe Wanderers was the first game I watched. In 2014.
Last game of season, wasn't it?
Last game, and
they stayed up and Bristol went down or something.
Yeah, that's right. I think I went to watch Exeter City away.
That's Courtney Cameron. Yeoman, Imagine that was quite good actually that game because you saw as a youth graduate. We all thought we would kick on, but for whatever reason he
really,
did his
really decent bloke, Ash.
Because he's still playing local, hasn't he?
I think he's at Salcombe now, maybe.
Something like that.
I know he lives down that way. It was that's when we were sort of introduced, and then the year after, obviously Hargreaves was there again for another year. And we were youth team players, so we were sort of in and around Seal Hayne, clean boots and
so it's still like that. I kind of like that because we hear these days like Premier League and all that they've sort of they're not cleaning boots and it's not, but there still is very much that setup.
We were cleaning boots, cleaning toilets,
right,
change rooms, and obviously if there's a game on a Tuesday night, you're in at 8 in the morning, and you're not home till
Yeah.
11 o'clock at night, because that's
Wow.
when you have
Yeah.
to clean the changing rooms at Torquay as well. So
Right.
sometimes it's long
That's
days.
interesting.
You mean you can't complain? It's playing
Yeah,
football.
no, it's interesting though. Yeah.
But yeah, it's still, I don't know how they do it now, obviously with the college, but
Yeah, it's a bit
obviously
of
back
different
then
arrangement, isn't it? I
it
can
was
imagine.
very
Yeah.
it was old school, I
Yeah.
guess. And
Yeah.
we had some good managers, so and then
That's
obviously
cool.
that was cut short anyway.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say.
Our youth team days, because obviously they got rid of the youth team.
What
So
actually happened then from your point of view and to a lot of
yeah,
players who were in the youth team?
um so it was the end of the year, obviously the end of the season, and then it was sort of umming and ahhing whether anything was happening, and then we got told in the summer. I think I was just at home at the time. I can't remember now. Such a long time ago, 10 years almost. Well, yeah, 10 years, 9 years. Um, and then we got told, yeah, there's no youth team anymore. But they were going to keep 4 players on from the first year
Hmm.
apprentices, and I think some of the second years are already signed pros like Liam Pren,
Yeah, I remember him.
O'Neill
Yeah.
on Finn had signed, I think.
Does he still play football, Liam Payne? Because I remember he had a
Pren is at
really good record.
Tavistock, I
Oh,
believe.
that's good. Yeah, he had a
Yeah,
really good record at youth level. I remember.
he's a really good player. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice lad as well. He was a natural goal scorer.
Mm,
He's always
yeah.
in front of goal, and he helped us a lot in the youth team. He was a year
Yeah.
older than me, but we obviously play in the
Yeah.
same team for a year. So yeah, and then he kept 4 of us on, and then we were sort of training. We were still youth team, but
Yeah.
we were still doing. We were training with the pros the year
Right.
after.
Okay.
We went straight into the deep end.
Well,
Uh,
we wouldn't have been having any games though, would you? Unless there was because no real reserve
yeah,
game was there.
so I went on loan. I played a couple games for Spurs, Newton
Yeah.
Spurs.
Yeah.
I was playing locally just to get.
Right. I see.
I had a lot of under 21s games as well
Right.
back
Okay.
then, so we were kind of getting our fitness then.
That's all right then. Yeah.
And to be honest, for me, it was I made my debut in October, so it was quite a quick sort of
Mm,
turnaround.
yeah.
And then obviously I was more involved with the first team from then. So it was kind of a weird introduction. It's not
Yeah.
normally what
Not your
happens,
normal way. Yeah.
but
What was it?
How did
Go on, Tom.
how did you find that transition from being in the youth team to then being called up for the first team? Was that quite a
yeah, I think the main thing is people is used quite a lot, and the people are street smart. The players don't. There's no room for error when you in the first team. In the youth team, you can kind of get away with spending a
Mm,
bit more time on the ball, or I remember playing once. I think it was up at Macclesfield, and I was playing up top, and I I made a run in behind, and the defender had just like literally stepped in front of me and blocked me, and I thought that's the first time that's ever happened. Like that would never happen at youth team level. It was just a little dirty
yeah.
tricks
Little
that
bits like that. Yeah.
you have to sort of wake up to, and you
How
do
many
eventually
how
wake
many
up.
times roughly did you play again in that team? Because I remember because it's such a weird season with like this
Yeah,
players.
so I made quite a few appearances, obviously as a substitute.
Yeah, I
So
remember.
I think
Yeah.
that season must have been about 5 or 6, maybe. Obviously, I went on loan as well.
Yeah, I was looking. I was researching. I do promise. I was
Yeah.
researching
No, a
earlier.
lot of the
I
games
was.
obviously were cup games as well. So
Yeah, that's why.
we were
Because
playing like Basingstoke, Bognor
oh
Regis,
god, was that the?
oh
Yeah, I
god,
Torquay
remember
yeah.
that Bognor
United.
Regis game. Were
Yeah.
you at that one, Tom?
Oh. I was at the Bognor one. I was also at the Basingstoke where
So
that
Nichols
Very
was
nice.
that the one where they were bottom of the Conference South, hadn't won a game, and they absolutely
lost
turned
three
us
0 or
over.
something. Yeah.
That was my
That's right.
debut.
I
Wow.
remember there. I remember
I suppose you learned a
sticking
lot.
them.
So Kevin Nicholson was player manager at that point, wasn't he?
Kevin Nicholson, yeah, player manager.
Describe what it was like. Obviously, that process of what was it Paul Cox going, Nicholson coming in, and then being like, right, I'm playing, but I'm still the manager. How does that work from like a
I
player's point of
mean,
view?
to touch on Paul Cox and John
Yeah, yeah,
Ramshaw,
of course,
firstly,
yeah,
'cause they were my almost introduction. Kev
right,
almost gave me that chance, which was
yeah,
great. I will always appreciate that.
yeah,
But especially John Ramshaw,
yeah,
he was really hard on us, which was
yeah,
good at the time.
yeah,
well, looking back, it was good for us.
Yeah.
And man management was great. I know they didn't last long. What was it
Well, they
for?
weren't even on a contract, were they? I mean, they
Yeah, it
were
was
good
weird.
coaches. You could tell they were good coaches. I mean,
But even having that
yeah,
pre-season and then the couple of
yeah,
games, I learned so much in that
yeah, I
short
can imagine.
time. And then obviously when Nicholson came in, it was yeah, he's a lot different, a lot more laid back. He would
Yeah.
the training was intense still. We had a lot of new training regimes,
We had all the
S&C
fitness stuff,
introduced,
didn't we, at
yeah,
the
all
time?
that sort
Yeah.
of stuff. And yeah, he was great to me. I can't
Yeah.
can't fault him for that. I had a lot of learning to do anyway,
Mm,
so I'll always appreciate the time I got,
yeah.
talking growing up.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
Were
yeah,
you,
I mean,
yeah, were you for the whole season, weren't you? Because obviously Great Escape 1, as it was called. I mean, what was the
yeah, there's
dressing room
one up
like?
there
I was gonna
somewhere.
say, yeah, I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
noticed it. It reminded me.
One up there.
It's a great time actually. I mean, it
That was
was
the
weird.
first season, yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird one really because it was such a poor time for a football club, but Nicholson galvanized the fan base and everyone so well and all the Great Escape stuff. What was it
Yeah.
like in the dressing room at the time? Because for it was quite a young and kind of small squad, wasn't it? Nicholson
The
had.
dressing room was really good actually.
Yeah.
Still speak to a lot of the players now. It was such a good time. I think a lot of those players have sort of kicked on as well and their
Lisset, the
stuff.
great stuff from there.
And I mean the fact that I think we were rock bottom at Christmas, were we?
Yeah,
I
I think
don't
when
know.
we beat
That's,
Bournemouth Woods,
Yeah.
was how many
That
points?
was
Like 7, 8 points, 7 off, something
yeah,
ridiculous, wasn't it?
yeah, we did. And we had a few wins in the FA Trophy as well, which I think
Yeah,
was going a little bit. Um,
mm,
and it was just the momentum. And then I think
yeah,
we couldn't stop, we couldn't stop scoring. I
yeah.
remember
No, it's great.
the was it the Forest Green game or was that the year after?
I think that
At
was the year
Christmas
after. I can't
time, year
remember. Yeah,
after,
those two
yeah.
were ridiculous
Very
as well.
similar
Yeah,
seasons actually.
they
But
were
yeah, that
literally
was
yeah.
just mental that,
Yeah, no,
couldn't stop
some
scoring.
weird times. Yeah, some really weird times. I thought Nicholson at the time it was obviously probably a bit of criticism because it was naturally talking near the bottom of National League. But looking back and looking how we failed twice in the National League, arguably maybe the National League's got stronger. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
In the last time anyway. But Nicholson, with all his hands were tied and he kept us up twice.
Yeah, he did a really
Uh,
good job,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I think
yeah.
he did a really good job, and it shows with what what was it, coach, assistant manager at
Yeah.
Exeter now, I think,
I
first
think
in coach.
we I think all as players we were excited to come to training every day. I think that
That's
was
the
the
main
main
thing, yeah.
thing
Yeah.
about it. And he was almost, part of the change room as well. Obviously we had Robbie Herrera as well, who's been
Yeah,
around for
very
years. So
experienced. Yeah,
again, they were all great. They were good to be around. So that was
I
the
saw I was going to say, I saw a lot of away games that season, and we were getting absolutely battered on the. I remember, I think it was Chester. We got beat like
yeah.
4-1. Just an example of that, and it was just it was hard to watch. But
but the
yeah,
fight
it
was
just
always
proved
there.
I
there
do
was always
remember
that
that
spirit, and
campaign,
I think as a fan at the time. I think I was maybe a bit too critical on Nicho. I
Yeah, we all
always,
were probably a bit
I'm
looking
not
back. Yeah,
ashamed to say I felt Nicho coming in was the cheap option,
yeah.
and it was the signs of a club that were
on the
getting a bit
decline.
desperate off the air. It was a definitely the start of the decline, but the fact that he was able to keep us up, as Swanee said, not once but twice, it's just an absolute
And
miracle.
the players, even when we got battered, we never looked and it walked off like, oh, they're not giving 100%. It was
No.
very all of the
No,
whole
we were
squads those two
always,
seasons.
yeah.
It was so
Uh,
you really felt behind the players, even when it was really tough to watch at times.
Did you find that the support of the fans helped a lot as well, Will? Especially
Yeah, I
those who
mean,
had to watch away from home.
especially away, actually. That you quite often you see a lot of the same faces away as being supporters. It does help. It gives you that. Again, it's a cliche, but it gives you that extra 1 or 5% really, just
Yeah,
by the fans being on your side. And there's nothing worse than when you're getting slaughtered
yeah,
and you're trying to play that. For me, that's just you. I don't think there's no good reaction out of that sometimes.
yeah. No, I'm with you
And
on that.
I think
Yeah.
some fans don't realise that. I mean, don't get me wrong, there might be some players that might live off a little bit of stick and a little bit of
But when
criticism.
it gets to like, as Lee
Most players,
Mansell
yeah.
said on a few weeks ago, when it gets like even near a personal level. I just don't get it really. Yeah,
you're literally going to make things worse for the week later. And a lot of them
yeah,
forget we are just human beings trying to play a game of
Mm.
football, trying to do the best we can.
when you were playing, what
Mm.
was like your granddad's and your dad's sort of influence? Like, was it kind of like you were left? Because some like people that come through a football family, they're left to their own. They almost say
Mm.
like the Schmeichel's, he's almost left on his own in a way, where other
Yeah, I
dads are very
mean,
much in the air and like coaching every
my
move.
dad was obviously granddad didn't have any input with the
Yeah,
football side because he wasn't like he didn't play football or anything,
yeah,
but dad's obviously did, and dad was never pushy.
yeah,
It was more like if you want to play football, go and play football. If you want to do
yeah, and that's the best way to do it. Yeah,
he was never pushy, but he would also be my harshest critic when I was playing, in a good way. In a good way,
yeah,
it would always
yeah.
be, don't rest on your laurels. Um, yeah, there was always a little bit, but then he would tell me when I've done well as well.
Yeah,
So
no, I have a very similar relationship with my dad, and actually, those are the
yeah,
best ways to grow up because when when you need it, you're told, but when they praise, you know it's genuine. So,
yeah,
no, I'm with that completely. And Dom, who runs Talkie Talk, says, "What was the tire flipping challenge like, and were you any
Oh,
good at it?
do you
Was that
know
like a
what?
bit of a myth that was
Do
actually
you know
like
what?
bigger, or was
Did
it?"
anyone, and I know Nicho will agree with me on this, nobody actually counted properly, and it was actually a draw. So if anyone wants to watch that video again and count all the flips, you will realize it's actually a draw. But on the video it said I lost. But yeah, the
Yeah,
time flipping challenge, we used to do that quite a lot. It was
do
more
so
of a,
quite a lot. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah,
interesting.
up at Winners Gym, yeah.
Where did that idea come about? I'm trying to recall now what that was for. Was
Was
that
that
just
through the winners bit, or was it like
Yeah, so we obviously had Simon Jeffrey, who was at Winners,
yeah,
a good friend of Nico's as well. So yeah, he used to do all the S&C sessions for us. Really tough, actually,
yeah,
really tough sessions. But again, it was really good for us. It's more like plyometric sort of stuff. So
yeah?
all and athlete
I can
specific.
imagine it's good team bonding at least either
Yeah,
way.
it was good. It was good.
But yeah, no. So moving on from that, unless Tom, you got any more questions?
Can I just bring
Go
up
on.
Bromley away, that the game where we officially stayed up that season?
Yes. Yeah.
You were there, I'm guessing,
I
in some
was there, yeah.
capacity. Yeah, yeah. Just that your thoughts on that day and just how good it felt to secure promotion
Yeah, I
after
mean,
being written off pretty much by everyone in footballing circles to that point.
I think that's the thing. I think it was at Christmas there was literally no hope, wasn't there? And yeah, just it was almost relief at the end.
Yeah,
We kind of knew we were going to do it because honestly, in the change room, we didn't think we were ever going to
mm,
lose. There was
yeah,
always a goal. There's always
yeah,
something.
mm,
So when it obviously did happen, it was more relief than anything. It was more like, oh, we've actually shown
yeah,
them we can do it,
yeah.
rather than being, oh, that was a lucky escape, which it was, don't get me wrong, but we kind of knew that was the direction it was going in.
What was the difference in the second season? Was it a bit of a case of like, oh, we're here again, and then you had to do it, or how was the
It was
dressing room in the
weird.
second one?
Again, that second season, I went on loan quite a lot, so
Yeah,
I was still training every day. But it was a little bit different from my point of view. But again, we obviously got more loanies in. There was a lot
yeah.
of players coming in, wasn't there? And yeah, we just found
Just
ourselves
so cash
extremely
strapped
lucky.
again, like
Yeah,
because I think
Yeah.
yeah, it's just ridiculous, really. I think because Torquay, I mean, last few years we've wasted so much wage. Nicholson had no wage to
nothing, yeah,
waste.
nothing.
I mean, every little pound almost had to be spent wisely. And I
Yeah.
remember, I think it was a galvanizing point. I think it was the second season, correct me if I'm wrong, because Nicholson was always on Facebook and he put basically saying, I'm on the deadline day for National League. I've been
Mm.
given no more budget. I wanted 2 or 3 more players. Please get behind and support. I think we only had like 15 players or something stupid like that. Please get behind and really support the lads. We need to just try and get these results. And again, that galvanized everything. And what was it? One of the last 3 games in the end to stay up that year. And it was
I
just
think we
ridiculous, really.
stayed up at, was it North
North
Ferriby?
Ferriby, great
I
day.
remember the last
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
then
was that Braintree game at home that
Yeah, really
yeah.
spoke.
that
Brett
that was the big
Williams.
one, wasn't it?
Brett
Yeah.
Williams that season was so good in that end run.
Brett was brilliant. Yeah,
It
again,
was strong.
a great lad. He was
Yeah,
probably the best in the changing room. He was really good.
I can imagine. Yeah,
Really good.
It was quite the scrap on the last day. There were quite a few clubs that I can recall that could have gone down.
yeah,
We were pretty much there, but
pretty much
obviously being
okay. Yeah,
Torquay fans, you always have it in the
yeah.
back of your mind that they can always pull out something.
It's two second
Yeah.
half goals, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Was it Anderson and then was it
Anderson
Werner,
and
something like that scored.
Burns might have scored. What wasn't Gaz? Was it? Was
Can't
it
remember
maybe?
now. Honestly, they were kind
Oh,
of.
oh
Can't
yeah,
remember now. I mean, yeah,
long time
was
ago.
it's a long
was
time
there
ago now.
was there a sense that you were kind of glad you had North Ferriby last game of the season? No disrespect to them,
I know
but
what you
they were
mean.
already,
Yeah, it's
they were
always.
already down.
Don't get me wrong. Everyone looks at it and you go, "Come on, let's win this." But at the same time, you can't. I think they were already down, if I'm
Yeah, they
right.
were already down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So again, that helps a little bit. And but yeah, you can never really, you
yeah.
can
No,
never
it's
write
one of
them off.
those.
That's the trouble with football. It can go either way.
So how did it go? Was it when the time when you moved on from Torquay, and what was that like?
Yeah, so I moved on. Obviously, Nicho was there in pre-season. I was there for pre-season with Nicho.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Gone
4 games
pretty
in, wasn't
soon,
it?
wasn't he?
Well, I remember that night. I remember because actually, again, hindsight's an amazing thing. But I remember
Yeah.
after that, was it 4-2 against Bournemouth? I remember I was actually in the party, which I regret massively that after what happened. I've been like, look, 4 games in, we've really struggled again. You like to think, I think because we beat West Brom in a friendly or something like that. Was it that? We all suddenly convinced ourselves magically that we were going
I
to.
thought that was the year before.
Was that year
Actually.
before? Okay, no, you're right. It was the year before.
Yeah, it
But I
was.
remember we were like, well, maybe this year's going to be where we push on. And then
Yeah.
I think we all sat there like, oh, we can't go through this again. Maybe
No.
it's just time for a new start. In hindsight, well, I think we had two of the bottom teams the next 2 games, and we had no one lined up for 30 days. So actually, it should have never have gone, and definitely shouldn't have had that viewpoint at the time. But what was it like?
I do think if Nico stayed, you wouldn't have gone down.
I do agree.
I genuinely do think that.
Because that was either that rest of that season.
Just because I don't mean to disrespect ours, but he just came into the club as well, and it was when you've been at a club for a few years, you kind of know how it runs,
Yeah.
players,
Yeah.
and if a new manager comes in, he's got to get used to the players, all new players, and it takes you 15 games to get going.
Yeah.
So you haven't got 15 games in that league,
Yeah.
because it's quite a tough league.
What was he like as a? Because I remember Liam Davis because he was a great coach, and actually in hindsight, his recruitment was quite good. Maybe a coach recruitment role is more what is there, but there's a big difference between a coach and a manager. Another cliche. We're talking about cliches. But I think Liam Davis, from what I remember on another Talkie podcast, is saying that he kind of didn't almost towards the older players. It felt a bit like, and it just kind of maybe didn't quite work that kind of energy. I don't know, something like that about trying to put it on a public platform, anything. But was there any real difference did you see, or did it just not click and it were too far gone?
Obviously, I was very quick that I did all of pre-season, and then I think it was towards the first game. Obviously, Russell Olympic came in for me, so at the time I was sort of concentrating on that. But from a first impressions from that season, it did feel a little bit different.
Yeah.
Just with the new players coming in, definitely.
Well, it's a different lone player every week by the end of the season.
Yeah, it was a different player, and obviously I still looked out for the Torquay results after that. So.
We saw some good players though. On paper, that squad shouldn't have gone down. It just couldn't. We couldn't get 11 to work. It's just all two individuals, sadly.
But
did Nicho? Sorry, go on, Will.
No, it's all right, no problem. Go on.
No, I was going to say, did Nicho's sacking come as a surprise for you in the dressing room, as it did for us fans?
Again, I was gone by that time, but from an outside point of view, I think it was a shock a little bit for me. But at the same time, I think he lost 4 in a row. Was it?
Yeah, he got 1 point from 4. We were like rooted at the bottom. No, it was a feeling of
I think just because of the previous years,
it
was almost just an up and down. Or So we can't do this again,
It was on my A-level results day, actually. I'm pretty sure we got snapped. It was like, hey, Pat, Nicholson's gone. And then it was like, it was, Yeah. So obviously these loan spells, what was it like for a player to go to all these sort of clubs? Because you had a couple of loans actually, didn't you?
Yeah, so my first loan was Bridgewater.
Yeah.
My first official loan anyway. So I did a month there. It went really well.
Hmm.
Um, almost wish I stayed there for another month actually, but I think
Yeah.
at the time
Yeah.
Torquay needed players and stuff, so I came
Yeah.
back and obviously filled in where I could. And then I think the next month after that, I had a month back, and then I went to Cirencester for a month,
Mhm.
scored a few goals. Again, had to come back because Torquay didn't have many
I
players.
suppose it's good networking though, and the fact that you're like, well, if say if Torquay do release, as a lot of young players happen,
Yeah,
you can go to these sort of clubs and be like, look, I've done it at this level. So
Mm.
I suppose it's almost like
exactly.
networking in a way of
It
putting it,
is
isn't it?
in a
Yeah.
way, and as a footballer, all you want to do is play. So at
Yeah.
the time, I was like, just
Mm.
get me out. Don't. I was still training every day with Torquay.
Yeah.
I was playing with, the partner club. Um, but yeah, it was. I almost wanted to go on loan at the time. I
Yeah.
needed games, especially at that age. 17,
Yeah.
18. You need games. So,
What
Yeah.
um,
level were you playing? What level were you playing at in the pyramid
so
at that time?
Bridgewater was Southern League Division One, and then Cirencester was Southern League Prem. So
Yeah.
yeah, so sort of Tiverton level, Tiverton Taunton level. So yeah, one off what Torquay are now really. So still a
Yeah.
good standard. There's still
Mm.
some good teams in that league.
I suppose that's a
Yeah.
good
No,
step for your a good step for
it's a
development
good
as
league
well.
still. It's a good league.
Mm.
It's men's football. It's not far off what Torquay,
So you're
done.
turning up probably one of the younger players there, and it's like, oh, he's on loan from Torquay. So
Mm.
I imagine there was a bit of
Yeah, a
pressure
lot of
riding it.
them.
But yeah.
But at the same time, there was a lot of players in my position as well
Right. Okay.
that had
Yeah.
come from other clubs, and
Yeah.
we
That's the
sort of
vibe. So
all
you
in
weren't
the
the odd
same
one out, really.
bandwagon.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and you find most players in those leagues have either played at a good level and they're
Yeah.
on the way down, or they're on the way up.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It's usually that's sort of how it works.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good
Nice.
players
I
in that line.
enjoyed my loan spells definitely.
Yeah. So leaving Torquay, how did that come about? And then kind of what was your focus then? Because I'm trying to think what age you've been, but like when it was like, right, I need to secure something full time, I need to play football. How was it? It's quite tough, I imagine.
Yeah, it was. So I was 19 at the time, still
Yeah.
really young, and then I could have been 20 actually. I was almost 20. I was
Yeah.
19 at the time. And then Russia Olympic had come in for me, which is Wayne Thomas was the manager there, obviously
Mhm.
ex-Torquay player.
Yeah.
Um, and went up for pre-season or very end of pre-season it
Yeah.
was. I played a couple games, and it was just game time. I needed to
Yeah.
play every week. Um, it was great for me. I mean, I was playing men's football at a really good level. It was
Yeah.
Northern Prem then, so again, it was a great setup for me. Didn't quite work out towards Christmas. We were sort of struggling. Wayne Thomas got the sack.
Hmm.
Um, the new manager come in, sort of got rid of the whole team. So again, I was on the move again.
I imagine that happens quite a lot
But
actually at that level because it's
it
not like
does,
so
yeah.
contracted at all, is it? You're just
I think
constantly
I think there was like 7 players contracted. I was one of them,
right,
and they had to pay us obviously all up to leave.
right,
The new manager wanted his own side, and I think
right.
they kept one
Yeah.
player, 2 players
Wow.
from the old side. So again, that's the reality of football, really.
And
Yeah.
how did you find that move up north then, and the challenges from being based down in Devon and then having to kind of upstick your life all the way up
Yeah.
to the
So firstly, I have family up in the Midlands, so it was a bit easier for me in that sense. It's still hard because you're trying to work part time as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine
Um,
that's tough.
Mm.
obviously, what I'm doing right now, I had that in the back of my head. I've always
Did
wanted
that
to
start
do
around there
that.
then? Did that start around there?
I would say it was roughly around that period.
Okay. That's
It's
good.
always
Yeah.
been, I've always been interested in it. Obviously, we'll get onto that anyway,
Yeah.
but um, that was probably the turning point where I thought
Hmm.
football doesn't last forever, whether you're in it
No.
for
Yeah, no. That's good you've
30,
had it at that point, really,
20
isn't it?
years
Yeah.
or 2 years. it doesn't last forever. So especially in the at Torquay's level, a lot of these players are going to have to find jobs when they
Yeah,
retire from football. So it's finding that backup, isn't it? Really.
yeah,
So
definitely. I
again, I
can,
think that.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I can kind of relate, and nowhere near the level.
Mm,
But I was at the time about 18, 19, I was doing it from the music point of view.
mm,
And I knew in the back of my mind I was never going to do it like full time. But it was kind of like it got to 1920, it was like, yeah, no, maybe I'm not going to be famous actually, and I probably should try and sort my
yeah.
career out. But actually trying to balance part-time and doing that is all quite difficult. And from a music point of view, I find it really tough. But I imagine that from a football point of view, it's even more tough because you've got the
Yeah,
training
I
in
guess
between and all
in
that.
its own way, yeah. I think with football, it's quite a brutal,
Yeah,
sport. Literally one week you could have. I remember playing at Russia one week. I was, man of the match, star man. The next week, you're not in the side, and you're not
yeah,
you're not even
yeah.
getting a look in on the
It
bench,
is
and
more up and down
it
that
changes quickly.
sports. Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, that is the harsh reality of it. But yeah, it helps you learn a lot about life in general, I guess.
yeah. No, it does.
Um,
But
and
you've had
again,
those
at the same
experiences.
time, it's you have
Yeah,
to weigh up your options with other things in your life. So you
yeah.
gotta helps you realise.
So going into Cutleaf and also your spell back at Newton Abbot, which you know at Brixton as well, you've moved to Cutleaf, and how did that sort of come about and sort of the football at the same time?
Yeah, so I was obviously playing part time. After Russell, I came back to Biddeford, played for Biddeford for 3 years,
Yeah,
had a good time up there with
yeah,
Joycey.
yeah.
Um,
It's still I saw them play a couple of years against Exmouth actually. It's like Kevin Hill versus.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it was an
versus
interesting
Joyce.
one. But I like that league. It's a good standard in there. You get a good
Yeah, it's
range of
good stand,
players.
and Joyce is a great lad.
Yeah,
He's obviously well known around here. And then yeah, I was playing up there, went to Bridgewater, back to Bridgewater for a little bit. And then Newton Spurs came about because my brother was playing there.
yeah,
I was also setting up
yeah,
my end of things, obviously with Cutleaf. So I started off on my own. We all did, there's three of us. So
yeah,
we all started on our own sort of paths.
yeah,
Scott Roberts, who founded Cutleaf, who I work with, he obviously we were working on jobs quite a bit. So
yeah,
I think eventually we got to the point in 2021, 2022 time where we thought, let's do this together. We need to
yeah,
be all together. So obviously Ryan Martin, obviously me and Scott Roberts, we all came together,
yeah.
sort of left our own um, bets and just joined together.
That's
And
decent. Yeah,
we're all different. We're all different in good ways. So when we come together, it's good. We're not the same. We've got different
yeah.
views
That's
on
good.
things.
That's good. It's
Uh,
really nice that you've had the chance to do that and sort of drive behind to do. I guess does it? I guess it makes your main income now. I guess it's like
yeah,
that for
yeah.
you. That's good.
It's full
Yeah,
time now. Yeah. So obviously full time. I think November 22.
perfect. Nice one.
So that was yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, Cutleaf, what sort of, obviously we know what a big part of what you're doing at the moment, but
Yeah.
to people who don't know, what sort of stuff would Cutleaf do?
So we're a production company,
Yeah,
and we literally cover everything you need filming, basically. So
that's cool.
um, whether that's we're a lot heavily involved with sport,
Yeah,
with VX3, we do all their content.
yeah, up in Newport every
Um,
week I saw.
up at Newport,
Yeah,
yeah. So we're doing a lot of that. We obviously do automotive,
yeah,
property stuff, anything that needs filming, really.
that's decent.
I
That is
know
pretty
it
good.
sounds weird, but literally anything
That's
needs
that's great.
filming.
And obviously playing for Newton Abbot Spurs last few years, how's that been?
Yeah, it's been good. I spent 2 and a bit years there, got a lot of games in. It was nice to play with my brother as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
Um, and again, because we've had Cutleaf on the side, it's almost good to have a football club, not to sound harsh on it, but I
Mm.
can relax at and just
Yeah,
play football, enjoy it,
yeah, that's good.
and
Yeah,
I can focus on the production side.
you probably perform quite a lot better when you're in that mindset as well. I can
Absolutely, you're
imagine.
more relaxed and there's no
Yeah,
there's no pressure to obviously there's pressure to perform and everything, but it's
yeah, and then
not
and the
as
move.
steep.
Go on. Yeah, and the move to Brixham. I mean, for some people think, oh, Brixham, actually, there is the same league as Buckland. You know, it's a
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
really high standard. I mean, I like to think I know a bit about local football, but I went Brixham. I was like, Christ, they're actually in the same league as Buckland. That's really
Yeah,
nice,
yeah,
actually.
the Western League. So yeah, Brixton came about. Do you know what? I was sort of wanting to go there for a few years. The manager was and ahhing, and he wanted to get me over as well. But again, it didn't come about till this summer, really. I mean, I
Yeah,
could have gone there a few years ago, but it was just that I think they got promoted last year as well, which
yeah,
was a big part of it. Obviously, playing a little bit higher standard.
yeah.
Um,
That's great.
They had a good run in the
Western
Vars
League.
last year as well, if I
Yeah, they
recall.
did
Yeah,
really good run, and it's a well-run club, good people. So
That's great. That's great. I
yeah,
love that.
that's very good.
Some really decent clubs at this level.
Mm.
So going back to Cutleaf, obviously this summer I've been quite busy, as
Yeah,
we've all seen.
very busy.
I mean, just from a fan's point of view, seeing what was Austin Booth was the first one, was it, or did you do that little compilation
Yeah, so
like the old ones? Yeah,
Austin and Jay to
yeah,
start with. Um, we did that because Austin's obviously quite good mates with Jay, so we thought,
yeah,
let's make it so it
yeah.
relates to
It
them.
was great.
So yeah, that was the first one. Then obviously we had a big batch of them sort of
Yeah,
week, didn't we? Sort of two a day. All the fans were getting excited. Do you know what? I didn't think it would be going as big as it did at the time,
yeah.
but
No, it's amazing. And the
Yeah,
Warnock one,
went down so
especially
well.
the
yeah,
Warnock
Yeah, I
one with
suppose the
Witten.
Warnock ones
Yeah,
they were to start with. I mean, that was actually before any of the we
yeah.
obviously
Mm.
did the Warnock stuff on the pier
I
on
think
a
it's just
rainy day.
genius.
That was meant to be a sunny day as well. I've turned up with my camera and it's
How
like
how did
absolutely
that even
brilliant.
come? How did that come about? Can you take us from were you
Yeah,
contacted by the club, or did you offer your services to the club? How did it all
so
come about?
the end of last year, I saw the club getting a bit of disarray. Obviously, we know what happened there.
Yeah.
And I thought I would go and document it, potentially being something bigger in the long run.
There was cameras at there was a game, the Yellow Army Day, the
That
1-0
was
win.
us. That was
Yeah, I
us.
thought of you. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So
Against
me
Hampton,
and
that was it. Yeah,
me and
The
Ryan
Hampton one,
went
yeah.
down that day, and I sort of got my foot in the door a little bit
that's
at the
good.
club.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know a lot of people there anyway from before. Um, and then obviously Joe Lovell being contact with Torquay as well. He's also the VX3
Yeah.
CEO as well, or manager director. I'm not sure
I think that's
his
the one. Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
So
important, whatever it is.
it's important. He was basically saying, "We've got Neil Warnock, and just can we do a manager announcement video with him?" I
Yeah,
was like,
so
"Yeah, of
cool.
course we can." And the idea was obviously to go down to the pier, get an ice cream, nice
Mm.
sunny day, and we turned up. It was just
I think
peer.
that actually worked even better
It
though. I
worked
think,
even
Yeah, I
better.
think
yeah,
Yeah,
so.
I got there. I thought, do you know what? Let's get the deck chairs out. This would be funny. Obviously, at the time, Neil and Paul were like, "What the hell's going on here?" So we quickly filmed that. That obviously went down really well on
well,
social
Sky
media.
didn't Sky take it on, and it got like
Yeah, I
three
think
million in the end.
Yeah.
Something
that's
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
But
Yeah.
immediately, that's the football club. We said for ages, apparently the football club needs to move forward. It needs to use local businesses, and all of a sudden, every signing has basically got a local business of some sort.
Mm.
Different, shown Torquay as this unique club as what it is. I mean, yeah, I mean you could list them off, couldn't you? So going from there, from the Warnock one, did you like plan the places, or was the club like, right, can you work with this or a bit of
Yeah,
both? Or
so we mainly did the planning. Obviously a lot of help with Dom as well, who's
yeah,
media Torquay. He helped out a lot.
that's great. Yeah,
We had meetings with Michael Westcott and
yeah.
Joe Lovell just to we sort of became, there was a little brief together.
Mhm.
Obviously we had that sort of vintage feel to it a little
Yeah.
bit,
Yeah, I
which
like
was
that.
the
Yeah.
Yeah.
running thing. So yeah, it was we had a lot of planning to it, and then on the days, I think 9 came out, which we shot in the same day. They were all
Wow.
shot the same day,
Wow.
so it was a
Oh,
busy
wow.
day. We were sort of bouncing around the bay. I
I
think
was
we
gonna say
started.
how long did it take to get that all done, or each individual
So
video?
filming wise, we were with the players, each player for probably half an hour tops.
Really
So
slick.
we started in, I think the first one was Finn at Splashdown. That was the
Yeah,
first one we did. Then we moved on to Brixham. We got James at the Fishmongers, and
yeah.
then we did the second part to Austin and Jay's video at Rockfish, and then all the way to Paynton. We got, I'm trying to think, we got Jaden at on the waltzers. We
Yeah.
got Roddy on in the arcades.
Yeah.
And who else did we get
We had
there?
the big wheel one, a
Big wheel
big wheel
one.
one. That was
Yeah,
so cool.
that was
Yeah.
yeah, that was towards the end of the day. Oh yeah, and we had what's it called? The Manor House. Forgot the name.
Oh, you had do you have bygones and then
Oh, Ben Seymour.
Ben Seymour, that was
yeah, that's
separate.
Manor House as well. Yeah.
That was a
I mean, I've
separate
lost
one.
track. All of them are so good, but
Yeah,
bygones.
I've
I mean,
lost
that's
track.
just a
Every
primary
time.
school trip. Bygones, isn't it? If you
Yeah.
Yeah,
around
it is.
South Devon, so that was a flashback. But and the Wicks one, I remember that. How did that like come about? Is it
Yeah,
because
do you know what? Because I think they promoted a lot of paint to the club for
right?
the paint, so we thought we'd do something a little bit different. Do you know
It
what?
was
When
different,
we
yeah.
filmed it, we were like, "This is gonna be so weird," but it ended up being like okay. It wasn't one of our best ones, I must admit, but we enjoyed it. Enjoyed
That's
me.
funny. No, I love it. And Kent's
Yeah.
Kevin one as well, Sandrea.
Yeah, it was
And
fun.
telling
yeah,
mascot to F off was my favorite bit of the whole
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's great. It's
Yeah,
really
it was more planning than anything with those sort of things. The
yeah, no,
actual
that's
shooting and
really
stuff
impressive.
is
Just
quite,
more, yeah,
yeah, it's more the planning. Obviously, Scott and Ryan, obviously, I work with really talented guys.
yeah, no, incredible.
Really
Just
talented,
honestly,
and
just
we
that you
were,
hit the nail on the head so well. Just to like get all the local, as I said, all the local places, all the, show what Torquay is about. I said, so we all said so many times, we need to show what Torquay United, Torquay's a unique place. And you've gone round, you've gone to Paynton, Brixton, everywhere. And
I
that's
think
brilliant.
us living there as well, it sort of helps.
Helps. Yeah.
If you get an external company in from
Yeah.
up country somewhere, they probably don't know the ins and outs and things like that. So,
And then it just
oh,
makes
yeah,
everything so relatable as well for the
Yeah,
fans.
exactly.
It's great. I think it's been fantastic. Do you have a personal favorite one that you recorded?
personal favorite. I've got to say Model Village.
Yeah, that was good.
think-
We
I
were
think
waiting
it's
for a
good,
model
yeah.
village one.
Yeah,
Everyone
no,
was waiting for a model village one.
I quite like the simplicity of Key West Splashdown.
Yeah,
I just like the way it just comes down the side, and
yeah,
then I guess you got James as well and catching the fish as well. Everyone sort of
yeah.
likes that one, don't they?
Was it take one?
That Finn's was take one
Good.
down the slide. I was like,
Yeah.
don't mess up because obviously it takes ages.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And we had to go up with the guys who worked there they were like cordoning off while we were filming and stuff like that. They're like, all the kids were like, is this a new Torquay United player? We're like, oh, hard to say.
I was gonna say, was there any
Probably
any
worked
like
out.
point where people were looking, going, "Oh, that's gonna be a
A
new
lot,
Torquay
yeah.
player"?
There was a lot. I think, especially when we got the first batch out, first out, I think sort of people cottoned onto it a bit.
Yeah, it's a small place, isn't it? Actually,
Yeah,
everyone knows
it is.
everyone in Torquay, don't they?
Yeah.
Was it
but
hard
yeah,
to keep it to yourself as well?
Yeah, again, I've one of my best mates is a Torquay fan, so he's like, "Oh, who's signing off, mate? I can't tell you. I will
because you
lose
can
my
tell.
job.
Yeah, no, you can't. You can never
Not
because
worth
it
it." I
will
was
just
like,
go.
"You'll see it in a couple of days. It's
You'll see in
fine."
a couple of days. Just
Yeah.
wait. It'd be.
Yeah.
But I've really and I've really enjoyed it. Just going before we finish off, and it's been great. Also going towards pre-season, and kind of, it's almost sold out as we said before we come on air. It's
Sold out,
amazing.
yeah.
It's all
Crazy.
working. Everything, from Cutleaf helping out to the whole football club. It's just a new vibe around the football club, and that's really helped. These things help a lot more than we realise. And it gets us noticed by other clubs a lot more than we realise as well. These sort of things when you're like just consistently hitting those sort of standards in like the media, social media. Going back to maybe more the football playing days, what was your sort of main memories as a Torquay United player? Your sort of main thing, and one final question actually as well, before I forget. Because I know it's quite a difficult time. Does your granddad still follow and watch Torquay in your family at all, or is it just quite not too sure?
Do you know what? I would have to ask him. I would think he probably looks at the results.
Yeah,
Whether he'll come back, I would say no.
yeah, yeah. No,
Come
yeah,
back to watch.
it's understandable.
But yeah, he's obviously aware of everything that's going
Yeah,
on, um,
Yeah.
and stuff, and he's yeah. I mean, my parents still follow the games and stuff. Obviously, they see what we're doing now and
yeah.
things like that. So yeah, there is still a little bit of
That's cool. I
but
imagine
that's
those things are
it's
very
part of
complicated.
their it's part of their life that's been and gone, I guess.
Yeah,
So
no, and that's
kind
absolutely
of
fair
moving
enough.
it
Yeah,
on, but
no, I wouldn't
yeah,
expect anything different, really.
no.
Yeah.
So,
Can I just
but
ask real quickly before we finish as well, just your immediate thoughts on the Bryn Consortium and also Neil Warnock, and just how, I mean,
yeah, do
how
you know
as a
what?
Torquay fan as well, how do you feel personally, doing all this stuff and then also
Yeah,
being a fan of the club as well? How do you feel personally?
I was going to touch on that. It's really been yeah, a breath of fresh air, really, as everyone said. It's obviously Michael and Mark coming in as the co-owners. They've been really good.
amazing,
Their communication more than anything is
incredible.
great. It's
Mhm.
So keen, aren't they? Once an idea gets
they
rolling, they're so
what
keen and
if
they'll just
it's
follow
the
through.
smallest thing to the
Yeah,
largest, they will care massively about. And obviously Joe comes in as well. He's been a massive help to them. So yeah, and all the consortium really. It's as a fan, it's been great to see that the club's back on its feet because it wasn't looking that way in what April. It
no,
was
yeah,
looking pretty bleak. So
Yeah.
it's really nice to see uh, off the pitch at least
yeah.
good things, and now obviously we're just gonna put it on the pitch.
But I think when the environment
Well,
is so good, it will just eke. I don't have really, really high expectations. I think it'll be a slow burn. I keep saying it this season. I think the feel good factor will be there. I think they'd be 100% behind it from day one. But it's a
Mhm.
brand new squad, brand new manager, brand new culture. And it's a much tougher league now. The South is a tough
Mhm.
competitive league, but it's going to be fun and I can't wait.
yeah, I think you got to give the players a little bit of time and the
Yeah,
manager a bit of
Yeah.
time, whether that's a full season. I think if they aim for playoffs, that's great.
yeah,
If it's
Yeah.
higher, great, even better.
yeah,
But yeah, I would say they're probably looking at that. I mean, in the change room, he's probably saying to the lads, I know what managers are like. They're like, right,
yeah.
we can do
Win
something
this.
there.
They can do it. They can do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But obviously, quietly, he's probably thinking playoffs is fine, or
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
yeah, well, it's exciting for the club, isn't it? Everything that's happened, obviously the rebuild now, as you say, it looks. Oh, I went up there today. It already looks bright with
yeah. I know. It's done
Yeah,
brilliant.
done, and it's just
Um,
looking a lot better.
can
New
we
signs.
can we expect any more videos in the near future, Will?
Yeah, we've got quite a few coming this week.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't say much more than that.
No, we won't
But quite a
probe. We
few,
will not
No,
quite
probe.
a few coming. And obviously there's no secret that the home kit's coming out as well, which will
Yeah,
be
can't wait for
involved
that.
with as well. So that's
Yeah, can't wait for that.
already been shot. So we're just
Mm.
waiting for a release on that.
That's very
Are you
exciting.
are you are you a fan? Are you a fan of it?
I really like it. Yeah,
Oh, I
really.
mean, the way kit's so nice. I can't. I'm just very excited
Mm.
for the home one.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah, no, yeah, that's great. But before we forget, your favorite moment because we did kind of skip over a little bit. Just as a player, favorite moments as a player because as we say, it was a tough time. But from your when you look back now, what is your sort of favorite
I think my
moments?
favourite moment. I can't look past my debut.
Yeah,
I know it was Basingstoke. We lost 3-0, but just yeah,
the pride, I imagine.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is
Yeah.
coming on. It's great. I didn't expect to come on, to be honest. I remember my dad always used to say, just make sure you warm up in front of the
yeah,
gaffer
yeah,
to let him know you.
yeah, yeah.
So I remember just like stretching and praying. He's like, "Well, you ready?" I was like, "Yeah." And then yeah, I think that was my favorite moment. One very close favorite moment was when I started at Macclesfield away in the
Yeah,
I think it was FA Trophy back then. I think we won 1-0.
yeah.
And that was a great moment. Yeah, I'd say
Yeah,
they're
that's
my
great.
probably
Yeah, that's
joint
great.
two.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really nice to actually hear someone's come through like the academy. And well, I imagine it's going to change quite a lot from now for the next 5 years as well, the club on the rebuild and all
Yeah,
that. But no,
I think we'll only see good things, but probably with a little bit of patience in between.
Yeah,
I think it'll
100%.
be
We just
Yeah.
need patient. Rebuilds take a long time, but I mean, look at the progress we made already off the pitch. So, and yeah, no, well, good luck to Cutley for the rest of the stuff
thank
and
you very
you and all
much.
that, and Brooks in the season.
Thank you
And
very much.
yeah, and thanks for coming on
No
this
problem
week's.
at all.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. And yeah,
Absolutely
sorry it
fine.
was took so long.
Yeah, that's why I got you busy.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. He stays onside. Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.